Hi, this is Robert McCune, and this is my ePortfolio summary for the Education Administration Master's degree. This is my candidate information page. I do have a introductory video that talks about a little bit of who I am and um, where I see myself going. And on the right-hand side, you see some goals, some professional goals and personal goals. And I think it's important to kind of have those and to always reflect on goals and where you're going. I think it's important as a teacher to instill goal setting into my students. I know in my leadership class, we do talk about short-term and long-term goals, and we actually have them put all around uh, the room to kind of remind them of what they're working towards. And so for my professional goals in the short term, I want to find the right opportunity for me and to join an administrative team. Um, I love being, and I think I've said this all throughout my stuff, I love being in the classroom, but I want to do more than just be in the classroom. I want to help um, install policy and change things for the better in schools, especially in my school that I see. So an ideal fit would be working in my school, but we'll see if that happens. A long-term professional goal would be to be influential in helping to establish a rigorous academic program that supports the success of all students. As an IB teacher and an AP teacher, I get to work with students and work on developing those higher level skills, but I don't see why those can't then be translated to all students. I think once you get kind of teachers built on what those skills look like and how they can be used in their classroom, I think you can start pushing them forward and developing them into all classrooms because it's just skill development, and every student should be have access to those and should be taught, and it should be um, shown what they need to do and modeled what they need to do. Personal goals: continue to be a lifelong learner and constantly challenge myself. I think that's important, especially in my mind, to always be learning, to keep learning about new educational practices. I think as an educational leader and an instructional leader, I think it's important to look at what new trends are, and I think that is part of being just a lifelong learner, and for a personal goal as well. Also, I want to strive to find the right balance between family and work. Um, and then the last one is be a supportive husband and father, and those two kind of go together because my wife and I are going to have another child in about a month, and so going to get pulled in numerous directions, and so I need to continually work on finding that balance. And I think it's also important to, when you have the hecticness and the craziness of school and being at school and different events, and then coming home and finding um, that balance and finding that calmness that you feel when you are at home. Moving kind of also into this candidate information page, my philosophy on education. And in this philosophy, it's through one of the classes that I really enjoyed taking. Um, and I also learned that in my experience in the current school that I'm at, one of the things that the administration could do better would be to communicate more. I think more communication is a lot better than less communication. Obviously, should over communicate in my mind. But as Hackman and Johnson say, in this, leadership is first and foremost a communications based activity. And so you need to be communicating to all stakeholders all the time. Things that are happening at the school, you need to be celebrating um, achievements made by students and staff, um, and communicate that out into the community. There are numerous more ways to do that now with social media. And so I think it's taking advantage of that and putting that forward. Kind of going through a couple others: empowerment, flexibility, and insight. Um, I think it's important to have all of those things um, when you are a school leader, when you are looking to be an administrator. And so I think it's vitally important to have uh, those skills, particularly the communication level, just because I think it's something that can cover up for a lot of other areas if you are communicating and if you are letting people and setting the expectation of what that looks like. One other thing that I wanted to point out in the candidate info is my resume. I took an aspiring principals workshop, and one of the principals who had just hired several administrators within, kind of helped hire them within his district, said one of the things he looked for on a resume, it's kind of, everyone has generally a similar resume, but he wanted to see awards and acknowledgments. And that's why in my resume, I listed that on the top, because I think that's something that sets me apart. As a teacher, I was awarded for excellence in the teaching aspect in 2015 and twice in 2017. And so I think I wanted to put that up there based on his suggestion to have something that sets me apart when I'm out there looking for a position as an administrator. Going into the activities page and into the annotated bibliography, there is one, I'm not going to take the time to go through everything, but I did want to point out one source, and that is the source on multi-tiered systems of support, this first one right here, because I think it's vitally important. I know my state and my district is in Missouri is working towards establishing this multi-tiered systems of support. I know where I live in Overland Park, the Shawnee Mission School District has this in place. And so I really think that finding these different interventions, the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 interventions, is a vital necessity to help support our students. Students have so many pulls in different directions that they have. And so putting things in place and showing them that, hey, here's this tier 1 intervention, tier 3 gets have to be worked through. But in my district, we struggle with tier 2 interventions, and so that's something we are currently working through. So I think that article is just talking about combining response to intervention, PBIS, and then culminating in the MTSS system, I think was pretty important in kind of my growth and my knowledge. Other kind of activities, my artifacts, kind of going through here. I've been in the classroom for 14 years at the high school level, so getting to go back into the elementary level was kind of fun and exciting to do multiple things. I'm particularly proud of the work that I have done to help establish our Future Hornets, which is the development of our feeder pattern schools, our elementary schools. And then just kind of highlight this Future Hornet Night that we had, where we invited our elementary schools to come watch a basketball game and cheer in the student section, shoot at halftime with the boys basketball team for the girls game. And then at the end of the event, the basketball teams, we put out tables and the Future Hornets could go and get autographs. And so I think that's just something that brings the community together. It gets you behind the school. It gets parents of those elementary students excited and gets those kids excited about coming to the high school. And so the work with elementary was pretty fantastic, in my opinion. At the secondary level is where I have probably most of my artifacts, just from the nature of being a high school teacher. Going through kind of the different activities that I have done. One thing that I felt probably gave me the most amount of experience would be my kind of being the summer school administrator. I was applied and asked to be the summer school administrator for my high school, and that taught me numerous things, working with transportation, working with student discipline, but also looking at our credit recovery system and working with teachers on getting students, one, to school, and then getting them to focus on getting their credit recovery. Because once they're caught up, they can leave. And I think that I tried to make that a selling point throughout the summer that, hey, you get your work done, you're out of here, you can go and enjoy your summer. And I think that gave me an appreciation to kind of juggling all of the different items and all the different people you have to talk to get stuff done. So I really learned a lot in that experience. Really learned a lot I was making probably about 30 phone calls a day home trying to track down parents. And so that's something that an experience that I really learned from and appreciated, but I also could take some of the knowledge that I gained in the class and in the various classes that I had and apply that to how I interacted with all the different stakeholders, with the students, with the teachers, and then finally with the parents, and finding different ways to connect with them to figure out what was best for students. And then finally at the district level, I'm fortunate to have a lot of different and unique experiences at the district level. I enjoyed my time as a one-year member, one-year term of the Education Foundation School Board. I learned a lot and got to network for some great things, but I think one thing that I'm very proud of is my work with the Kansas City Career Construction Academy. And I think its development is something unique. It is something that has been lacking because there's such a push for in high school to push students into a higher education setting, and the Kansas City Construction Career Academy allows them to potentially go into an area after high school, but they have their associate's degree and they have a couple of the certifications that they can go and make a great wage right out of high school, and where they're not being pushed into college. And so it gives students an opportunity for choice, which I think is more students are wanting that choice. My different reports, my administration evaluation form, and my activity log, kind of just going through being complete. And then finally, my reflection. And I think it's really important to be reflective and to be honest in this reflection, and honest with the program that I was in and what I have learned. And I think kind of going through the exploration stage and the different levels, the explanation stage, and taking those ISLIC standards and applying them to the various activities helped me understand everything that I've learned and put in perspective everything I learned, which has been an absolutely tremendous amount. And so I think it's also important to kind of look at this synthesis stage and to be perfectly honest, look at it and see what I've learned and reflect on what I've kind of figured out about myself through the program and through just the different experiences that I've gotten through pushing myself to get outside my comfort zone and to find new avenues and new experiences. And I think part of what I've learned is being able to apply those real situations, what I've learned in class, into those real situations where if I do get an administrative job, taking that and being, okay, I've been in this situation before, this is how this has handled it, but also having the knowledge that not everything is completely different. And so knowing what my resources are and who I can turn to for help. And I think that's very important. And I'm excited to carry on with the different things that I am working on. The MTSS, the KCCCA, I think are very important things that my district has been in place. And I think kind of as a last second thing, as it says at the bottom, program has challenged me more than I realize as an educator, and I just want to say thank you for that. Thank you for your time.